How's it going, guys? John and Turner here on Turner's YouTube channel. We're here talking about Star Wars, and we're going to be discussing not just what's coming up, but what's came before it. I'll be able to cut all this stuff. I'm going to edit a lot of this. Don't worry about it. So if there's any ums and ands. But yeah, we're going to be talking today about Star Wars. We want to actually have a special discussion before Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker comes out in theaters December 20th, with the preview night on December 19th, which I am assuming both of us is going to.
Oh, yes.
Right. So we're just here to make a little podcast. Just want to talk to people, just see if we can get any opinions from others as well before the movie comes out, and just to get our thoughts collected before we see what is the ending of a massive saga that's been 40-something years in the making.
Yeah.
So, Turner, let's go ahead and start off talking about what's led up to this point in the world of Star Wars.
Okay, so are we starting with the original trilogy, or are we going to start with the prequels and then work our way chronologically, or are we doing a re-listen?
I think this will be good for people that may not understand the chronological order, because I don't know about you, but I've gotten the text messages people saying, hey, we're about to watch Star Wars, and what would you start off with?
Yeah.
Do you watch it when they came out, or do you watch it in the numbers? And it's watch it in the numbers.
Yeah. I recently just did that with my girlfriend, and because she had never seen Star Wars before, so we decided to do it the way that they were released. And besides Rogue One and Solo, because I wanted to kind of make a full circle before we got into 7 and 8. And, she honestly didn't like the originals as much as she did the prequels, and her favorites by far were the newer ones.
The sequel trilogy. Amazing.
Rogue One, she thought was phenomenal. Solo, she's like, I love this. This is fantastic. And then what was it else? She loved Force Awakens, and she loved The Last Jedi. She could see where people had their opinions, where people thought it went wrong. But at the same time, she's really excited to see this next one. And it's been a really fun journey to be able to just watch all of them consecutively, to be able to lead up to this point where, I grew up watching Star Wars. If without Star Wars, I probably wouldn't be doing theater, because Star Wars is what got me into acting, and it made me want to just go into a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, exactly. That's a good point that I think for both of us, we grew up watching Star Wars, so we are very versed in the Star Wars lore and with the Star Wars history and knowing about what's happened and what movies came out when and where and all that jazz. So for people that may or not so fluent with what has come with the whole movies, TV, video games, what have you, this will probably be something good to talk about. So starting off, we have the original trilogy. Comes out in actually May of 77, I believe.
Yes.
And then the next one comes out in 80, which is Empire Strikes Back, the first one being A New Hope, and then the last one would be Return of the Jedi. And I've actually gone through recently in my watch through of all the Star Wars movies up to Rise of Skywalker. I've watched them mostly on Disney Plus.
Yes,
so
that's the savior for all the nerds out there.
right. So besides, I think it was Solo. I think Solo and Force Awakens, Last
Jedi are both on Netflix because of previous contract, but. The Last Jedi will be getting taken off of Netflix here very soon, and I think just in time for it to be added on Disney Plus right before Rise of Skywalker comes out. So maybe in the next week or two.
So it should be next week, hopefully.
And I think for Solo, it's coming out May 1st, 2020.
I think that's in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but watching the original trilogy, it is in 4K, and for people that aren't aware, these videos are the Lucasfilm. They're called remasters. They are scanned in 4K, but they are edited from Lucasfilm in 2011. So what you'll see is you're not going to just see the nice 1977 film style or film quality as they had it back then.
Yeah.
You're going to see CGI made in the 2000s.
Yes.
You're definitely going to see some CGI. And yeah, exactly. I'm not too keen on it. I'll get into that probably some other time about the despecialized editions, but those are a little on the DL, so you gotta be a little quiet about those. But the story of Star Wars, I mean, watching it now in chronological order, it's a much different thing. But when we watch it just in the original trilogy, you are very much seeing a very simple story. You see this kid who is just 18, and he's very young, but he's very like, I want to go out and, be a part of the world.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on this literal desert of a planet, Tatooine. Yeah. So you see the story evolve from it's like this kid finding adventure and story and finding his place in the world or in the galaxy.
Yeah. But I was thinking about this the other day, just how much by chance that this whole story happens. Right. Like, of all the places that for them to crash on a planet, R2 and C-3PO, they go and they crash literally a few miles away from the sun of the big Darth Lord in the whole galaxy, and then he just so happens to have the Force. Oh yeah, and there's this and that. It's all by coincidence, and I think that's one of the reasons that people love Star Wars, because, it's like anything can happen. Like, how about this,
Right.
It's just the way that George Lucas originally wrote it, and he did a brilliant job. I mean, I can't say that he didn't. I mean, nothing about it was McClunky.
That's a good joke. The story of Star Wars, the idea that anything can happen, things even that can just happen nicely into place is interesting. Especially going to that point with like Han Solo, the smuggler with Chewbacca. We see him somehow fall into this. He's literally a smuggler that tries to get away from all the...
And he originally shot first. He shot Greedo first. But years later, when the special editions came out, George Lucas didn't really he's like, oh yeah, well, I don't really want a good guy shooting a bad guy before he shoots him first.
Right.
So that's when it came into this whole, I think it was 4 times that they actually changed the scene, and the latest one had the internet raving. It was all about McClunky, which is why I just made that joke,
They added in the word McClunky, but they also took out the stunt dummy falling down and exploding.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're talking about when Han Solo shoots Greedo, which is an infamous thing in Star Wars lore and Star Wars fandom. But anyway, continuing on. So this original trilogy is very, very much a contained story within this massive galaxy. Mm-hmm. Because every episode we see new and different planets.
Yes.
With probably the exception of Return, where we go back to Tatooine and Dagobah, but we still go to Endor, and we see a new Death Star and all that stuff. But very much, it's a very... what would be the easiest way to describe it? It's a space opera. Mm. It is a spaghetti cowboy western style as well. And that was the intent for the first movie, New Hope. It is a hodgepodge of just different genres, including influence greatly from Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
understandably.
I worked on the set once in a movie with Flash Gordon, and so I got to literally meet him. I was like, oh my God, you inspired so many things.
Yeah,
and it was a really big nerdgasm moment, so to say, because just to meet Sam Jones and pat him on the back, literally in a scene, I was like,
Wow, so, nice plugging yourself in there, sport.
Oh well, I mean, talk about Flash Gordon. But another thing that my girlfriend brought up was that she wasn't too big of a fan of, what was it? It was, the originals. because she said everything just seems so cliche. All these characters, they've been done before. And I said to her, honey, who do you think started that trend?
Right.
She was like, oh. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, but like I said, she likes the newer ones way more than the originals. And I'm just like, whoa.
Well, so that was the first three. We kind of just glanced over, which is fine. Everyone needs to go watch this on Disney Plus anyway.
Yeah.
The prequels is always the hot topic for let's
pick it apart or let's eat it up,
Exactly.
Especially Phantom Menace. I'm telling you what. It was so controversial. It was so controversial when the Phantom Menace came out because they were like, "Oh, we hate this new character, Jar Jar. Oh, I love Jar Jar." And Jar Jar was made for the kids, specifically for the kids.
Explicitly for kids.
Explicitly, and after what was it? George Lucas, there's even videos of like behind the scenes where. The people that are working with George while they're watching test screenings of the last battle, they're like, George, you can't do this. You've messed the movie up. You're going from a winning battle scene to straight from a Jedi death scene, and then straight into they're blowing up a ship scene and straight into a Senate scene or something like that. It was 4 different scenes that had all these different tones, and they just didn't line up. And that's where it gets a lot of criticism. And I don't remember. There's some YouTuber like Red Letter Media. Red Letter Media, exactly. He went and he picked apart all of them and figured out why people hated these movies so much. And he makes such good sense. But at the same time, I can't help but love them because it's Star Wars.
You're not wrong. It's still Star Wars.
And honestly,
it's like pizza.
It's exactly. It's like it's pizza with pineapples on it. Some people like it, some people don't. And I honestly, I believe, in my honest to God opinion, that they have aged very, very well. Especially number 1, Phantom Menace.
I will say 1 aged well. I think episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, I thought it initially aged well. And it holds up better because the technology let it hold itself up better.
Yeah.
Episode 2, though, boy howdy. I mean, all 3 episodes especially, the dial... It's not the... Okay, so let me preface this.
Yes.
The actor... This is not the actor's fault. The actors act. It's up to, and you can attest to this, people like the director and the screenwriters, when they're trying to convey message about the characters or the presence of the characters, it's up to the people that cut this film and shoot this film, how they are portraying the actors. The actors go in there and act.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Ewan McGregor, you have Ian McDermott who does good Palpatine. We have Frank Oz voicing Yoda. Still, so you have, you even start off, it's Liam Neeson and Samuel L. Jackson as well.
Oh, yeah.
In the Star Wars movies. You have a nice, Natalie Portman, for God's sakes. You have so much potential and, character and just the actors themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So how did those prequels happen? So I'm going to go on a little tangent. We got to think about this whenever you think about prequels.
God, I hate sand.
I know. I hate sand. Oh, man.
So coarse. Gets everywhere.
But you know what else got everywhere?
What?
The Star Wars merchandise.
Oh, yes.
And for a long time, George Lucas felt like he never wanted to touch Star Wars for a while.
There was, I watched a little documentary that someone on YouTube made. It was called The Phantom Menace 20 Years Later.
Yeah.
And it goes into detail about the hype coming up for the movie and how everybody was lining up for tickets all across the corner when the movie first originally came out. And in fact, there was one girl who said that she went to the movie theaters 13 times to go, and she bought a ticket to the movie for like a different movie. So like this was before it came out. This is when the trailer first originally came out. She just came to the theater, watched the trailer, walked right out of the movie. She's like, it's just that good of a trailer. It's just so good. It's just so good.
That's not just her. There's people that would do that. They're like, all this movie's coming out, but then they announce you can watch the new Star Wars trailer exclusively before this movie, and people would be like, okay, gonna go see that movie now.
Yeah.
And they sit there, get ready, watch the trailer, and be like, that's it for me.
They leave, and
you just leave.
And here's another thing. When they had like a thing called Force Friday. They still have it. It's basically what is it? It's like it happens months before the actual movie's release, where all of the merchandise, the toys, the memorabilia, the shirts, everything comes out. And there's videos of people at Target, and they're like, hey, so have you seen this movie yet? And they're like, no, it hasn't come out yet. And it's like, okay, how much did you spend? He's like, oh, I got about $700 worth of stuff in this. And I mean, this is like average people, like, right. And they didn't know what the movie was. They didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know if they were going to like it. So many, and then I think the hype killed that movie in some cases because, you know, people were like, oh my God, this is going to be a fantastic movie. I'm so excited. I bought my, my Anakin Skywalker pod racer sippy cup, and I'm ready to sit back, relax, and enjoy this amazing movie. And, you know, I like it. I mean, most people don't, but I genuinely like it. I think it's lower on the lists of what's my favorite Star Wars films and stuff, but I think it's Star Wars. How can you not like it? I mean,
you're right. It is weird, and for me, going back to watch it because I did chronological order.
Yeah.
Okay, and I started this. I'll just watch an episode of Star Wars once a week.
Yeah.
And so, starting with Phantom Menace, I was like, right away, I'm going to start off with some trepidations because I know that this isn't good, but I still sat through and watched it, and I caught a little bit more than I've caught before because I knew that was the last time I'm going to see that movie for a while.
No, yeah. That's I mean, probably the last time that I really sat down and watched them, which is terrible to say, was maybe like freshman year of high school, and I'm a sophomore in college now, and it's just because I've been really busy. The DVDs that I have get really scratched up and they're spread everywhere throughout my house. So like it's a good day when you find a Star Wars movie underneath a picture of yourself. It's good. But
okay, so I need to tell a story now.
This
is a nice little tangent. It's not really a tangent. But this story is about me and my junior year prom with a girl.
Oh, yes.
So, lo and behold, I go to prom, right? And this is a girl from Catholic High. But her and her mom was like, if you want, you can spend the night at our house after prom because you'll be tired and it'll be very late. So just come drive, straight here.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll have the guest bedroom, which smells like cat poop and where all the cat claws, everything. And
I have no idea where this is going. I'm so excited.
So it's been a long night, and I thought I'm going to leave it at that. Nothing crazy happens now, mind you.
Yeah, of course.
But it was very stormy. It was a very stormy night at the end, like lots of clashing of thunder and lightning outside the door. And like this house, it's a nice house.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, it's not countryside, but it's a little ways off from the rest of the suburb.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have a little TV that has a VHS connected to it. Like it's like a 2-in-1 combo. And I'm like going to sleep and they're like, yeah, there's movies there if you want to just pop one in. That's do whatever. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna go watch a movie. And I look and see I look at the selection, I'm like, whatever. And I see a Star Wars logo. I'm like, oh, there's a Star Wars movie I can watch before going to sleep so I can calm myself down. And I'm like, okay. And I start sifting and picking it up, and it's dark in there. So I'm like, I just kind of see it. But I pick up and look at the box, and it's Phantom Menace. And I'm like, well.
It's like the Darth Vader, no.
Oh, man.
Have you heard the French version of that?
No.
It's weird.
Okay, link that right now. We're going to put that in. Okay, so Let's get through the prequels now, because
yes. So honestly, I know where you're coming from with Attack of the Clones. Growing up, I can see where you have your gripes. Growing up, that was probably my favorite of all of them.
Of all of them.
Like, just because, I was like, oh yes, that droid factory scene. Oh, all those Jedi coming down. Yes. Oh, there's clones now. What is this? This is cool. This is like showing. Oh, I guess this is what's gonna happen when the stormtroopers come along. I don't know what's happening.
Nice little catalyst, and then I think calling it Attack of the Clones was not a smart choice because the clones don't come into the last scenes.
No, that's literally it's like that Transformers movie that came out a few years ago. It's like Age of Extinction, and they're talking all about these Dinobots.
Right.
They're not in they're only in the last 12 minutes of the freaking movie.
Perfect setup.
But we get to really see Yoda's powers in this one.
Yes,
this is the first time that they did CGI Yoda. So they were
right.
They're like, let's have some fun with this. Let's make him jump off the walls and a force lightning. Let's just have him absorb that because he's so cool. He's a little green hopping,
right,
jumping badass. But what else was there? It was.
Well, we see Hayden Christensen, Anakin. We see a young Anakin in this.
We finally meet Hayden Christensen's Anakin, which I will get more into later because I got some stuff I got to talk about. But
now here's the thing: I enjoy Attack of the Clones, not necessarily for the movie itself now, but when I was a kid, dude, I had all the toys.
Oh, I did too.
I had the toys.
I did too.
Had all the droids and the battle droids, and
I did too, and like. Oh, another one of my favorite scenes is that speeder scene with the bounty hunter. And, like, I was watching it just recently, again. And I was like, okay, that scene, I could see where people have their gripes.
Yeah.
Because that's a very long fight scene, know?
Yeah.
And so, but it's still fun to watch.
Right.
It's not, like, it only gets a little annoying towards the end where you're like, okay, just hurry up and catch her.
Right.
The rest of it, you're like, okay, this is not that bad. But if we're really getting into Star Wars lore, then we should talk a little bit about the Clone Wars. I'm not sure if you watched any
the TV series.
Yes. The Clone Wars were a big part of my life growing up because I was in third grade when the first episodes came out, and I watched it all the way up until the final season. I don't remember what grade that was, but then I was devastated. I was like, okay, at least they tied it off with Ahsoka Tano's, Ahsoka Tano's storyline, because you're like, oh, she wasn't in Revenge of the Sith. Whoa, that's weird. Why I wish she was. But now they're bringing her. They eventually they picked up on her. They put her in Rebels.
Right.
And love it.
Rebels. But that's another. I think there's a pretty. I was not the best, but very consistent cartoons.
Yes.
Is a strong suit of watching Star Wars.
I will say I've been more watching Rebels. The first season. Bad. Second and third, I just wanted to binge it for the rest of this week.
Yeah.
I need to sneeze.
And cut. All right. Actually, I'm going to tell you this right now. We are at 25 minutes.
It's good.
Yeah. But anyways, we can continue and...
So now on to the Revenge of the Sith.
Yes. Which is my favorite of the three.
I think it deserves it. What I love about it so much is there's the beautiful Mustafar fight scene. There is the there's the fight with General Grievous, a brand new character it was ballsy to bring in a brand new character for the end of a prequel, but they brought him in and executed him so well, and I love that they even capitalized upon him in the Clone Wars, Mm-hmm. And let's see, what else was there? What George Lucas did so brilliantly with this third movie is that he tied up all the loose ends that would then eventually lead us into A New Hope.
Right.
There was, where's Luke and Leia? Aha. Oh, look, she's pregnant. Haha. Wonder what happens there. Why isn't she here? Oh, she's dead.
Yeah.
Why is Anakin not dressed as Darth Vader? Oh, legs and arms cut off, burning in lava. Aha. Darth Vader.
Right. So we got to really see exactly what it took to get Anakin Skywalker transformed to Darth Vader.
Yes.
There's good parts of that. It's still, in terms of dialogue, there's parts here and there it's like, oh no. But for me, I think the best thing about Revenge of the Sith is that it really does. Unfortunately, at the time, it was the bow on top of this 6-part box of Star Wars, and it's unfortunate it had to end at that note to get us to A New Hope and all that. But it did at least give us enough closure. Luckily, and this is where we now can get into sequel trilogy time.
Yes.
Where we get not just new episodes past Return of the Jedi, we also get some more backstory between the events of 3 and 4.
Including Rebels.
Including Rebels, yes. Which is it actually is a very important part, and it's even an acknowledged part of the movies. As in Rebels, there's a character ship that is shown.
The Ghost.
Right, the Ghost is actually in Rogue One, and then as well as
it's also going to be in The Rise of Skywalker.
So yes,
there was a clip in the trailer.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
McClunky.
So for me, I knew that going in when they were doing episodes 7, 8, and 9. That they do want to establish new people to help lead this part. The other thing was they knew that at the end of the day, this is a Skywalker saga.
Yes.
6 movies worth of pertaining to the Skywalker family and the Empire and the Jedi. So we haven't seen it. We've seen Siths here and there. We haven't seen a very dedicated Sith system yet. But we've seen powers of Sith fighting against the remnants of the Jedi Order.
Yes.
So, for me, when you go into Force Awakens, you have J.J. Abrams directing this and helping with writing.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. Like, people want to say, well, you're taking off parts of the original trilogy and you're trying to make an easy movie.
It's like you're wearing drunk goggles watching the original trilogy.
In a way, yes.
I mean, yes. And I still love it for it, you know.
No, like, I can see the similarities, yes. But you gotta understand, like, these ideas and these concepts were made in 1977.
Yeah.
We're in 2015 when the movie comes out.
And the movie is so pretty.
It is incredible. It's incredible looking.
It's so pretty.
It's so good. This character Rey has been so hotly contested online. I will not care who posts what online because when you see Force Awakens, you see the big thing is, well, they killed off Han Solo.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate, and this is a spoiler for people probably.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But there's actually at the Tonys this past year, Beetlejuice had this thing, and he goes in at one point in this song, he says, "Hey, Adam Driver, you killed Han Solo," and so
right.
It's funny. It's it's funny that he acknowledged it, and Adam Driver's just kind of laughing when the camera pans over to him, but do you want to touch upon the Han Solo and Rogue One right now?
Yes, we can. So because they are very much tie-in for those movie sets. I think Han Solo. Let's start with Han Solo, the Solo movie. I thought that was a great movie.
Yes.
I thought it was a very Star Wars movie. People say Rogue One. That's a true Star Wars. It's like, yes, it's a Star Wars movie because it's very war focused. But you gotta think it did tie a little bit to characters.
Yes.
And Solo was not trying to be that. It was trying to be a character movie because it tries to show you like this is you can kind of see where Han and Chewie kind of conglomerate together now, and they kind of cut the teeth to start their career as smugglers.
Honest trailers. I was watching this of Solo the other day. It's like, and this is basically, this whole movie was to show you that this is how he got his DL-44, his gun, his blaster.
Exactly.
And this is how, Lando says, I hate you. And he says, I know, which is a direct callback to, Leia saying, I love you. And he says, I know.
Right.
Another thing was he got the Millennium Falcon by being a smuggler. He literally... But, he stole it from a smuggler. Like, he was smuggling it from a smuggler. So that makes him the good guy, I suppose.
Right.
And, that was really... Honestly, besides being such a heist movie, that was really the only focus that they had for that movie.
Right.
They're like, let's just establish these two things. People are going to love it.
Right.
And we'll even leave room for a second one, maybe.
Well, they definitely left room for a returning character.
Yes.
Which people loved. And then there's not enough people that went out to see it, so they're like, well, we don't know if we need to keep that or not. It's okay, though.
Yeah.
I think we'll see that spoiler later on in another live action that we'll talk about sometime later.
Yes.
But between Solo and Rogue One, I think Rogue One is it's a very great catalyst for New Hope now.
Oh.
It sets up A New Hope so well.
Honestly.
And it has a great feel to lead into A New Hope when you watch them back to back.
Oh, yeah.
They're years and years apart, but for me it doesn't matter. The story is very continuous, and it's like you end Rogue One just so as A New Hope is about to start moments later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that final Darth Vader scene, I wasn't ever really scared of Darth Vader growing up. Like, he's a bad guy, ooh,
Yeah.
But at the same time, in the originals, it doesn't really show him as scary. He's able to force choke. That's, it's...
I will say there's some horror aspects to his Empire Strikes Back fight.
Yes.
With Luke when they're fighting in Cloud
definitely.
City. That's like his absolute, like... I can show you what power I really have.
Yeah.
But in Rogue One, this is
a scary horror film.
It's like, hey, you want to be a rebel?
2017 or whenever the movie came out.
Yeah, it's like, you want to be a rebel? Well, you're gonna experience this.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay the price, buddy.
And but for the longest time, I was like, Rogue One is like the best Star Wars film, and I was like, I can't believe I said that. But it's so good.
It is. No, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Like, upon seeing some of the new films and stuff like that, I was like, Rogue One was good. I'll give it that. It was pretty good. It's nothing. Just nothing was subtracted from it from these new films, but right.
McClunky. Those movies are very good, and they were also coming out, which is important, between episode 7 and 8.
Yes.
And I think that's important because it's a very good trade-off where you see new characters, then you go back to the old story and seeing some pieces there.
They are, after, Disney, they own Marvel, they own Star Wars. They've kind of been watching with Marvel. They're like, hey, what they just did with this, with how they made it into the Avengers, and now we're getting 4 Marvel movies a year. Right. So I'm hoping that if Jon Favreau takes over for Star Wars as well, because that's up in the air, rumored that we might be getting that. I don't know what they would be doing.
We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's go through right now quickly while we can. Talk about the next movie, Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi.
Because The Last Jedi is a very polarizing movie.
The controversial movie.
And people are going to say they hate it for so many reasons. And initially when I heard it, I was like, so you got this movie, but exactly what movie are you expecting?
Yeah.
Let's be honest here, because we started a new story with new characters in The Force Awakens.
Oh, yeah.
And we ended in... the thing I think the most about Force Awakens is the most incredible ending in the Star Wars movies, bar none, is when you have this great walk-up and you have the great movie music playing. It's so I mean, it hit me. It floored me when I first saw it in theaters because she got a piece of the map that can finally connect to see where Luke Skywalker's been hiding.
Oh yeah.
And she goes to the island, the planet, and she walks up to Ahch-To or whatever it's called. And she goes up, and then you see the big build up, and where it's like she sees him, and finally the whole movie you know him. Yeah. It's centered around Luke Skywalker. It's like, where is he? He's a powerful Jedi. You don't know the story yet.
Yeah.
But he taught Kylo, a little bit.
He got
about that.
Hey, I just want to know the paycheck that he got from that movie, because all he did was turn around.
I know.
But I will say, when he was originally reading the script for The Force Awakens, he was reading it, and he's like, where am I? Where's Luke Skywalker? Mark Hamill was distraught at the first. Then he goes and he's reading, and then they're out there in the snow on Starkiller Base, and there's the lightsaber jiggling, and he's like, oh, it starts flying through there. It's like, ooh, this is where I come in, and then it lands in Rey's. He's like, what?
Yeah.
He just, I honestly, I would love to see that movie. Like, if it wasn't Rey that caught it, but it was Luke,
Right. That would be...
It would be different.
It would be different.
It would be something that was unexpected. People would get mad about it, but it would be cinematically pleasing. That's all that matters.
No, I understand that. Like, to see Luke with the classic saber again. My thing is, I think whenever they came through with Star Wars, the idea of let's bring back Star Wars again, they did a three movie concept, loosely saying what we think we should do with Luke, what we should do with the new characters, and how to resolve it. They gave JJ the first piece, they gave Rian the second piece with The Last Jedi, and I will say this: The Last Jedi may not be a lot of people's favorites, and some people say it's destroying the Star Wars world or whatever. Yeah. That's bullcrap. That's complete bullcrap.
I mean, I agree.
You get Luke teaching a new Jedi the whole movie. Reluctantly, and there's story and character to that. And you even see, the great thing about Star Wars, you can see some of the additional story parts in other media, like comic books.
Yeah. I will say, though, for what Disney did, because this all started in 2014, 2013 when it originally, they had the contract and they got signed over from Lucasfilm and stuff. That they were like, okay, we're gonna do three new films. This is gonna be fantastic. So what we're gonna do is, how about this? How about we get 3 different directors, 3 different writers, so they all can have their own part of the story and do whatever they want, just so we can have a different director's take. And that's where a lot of people say that they screwed up, because a lot of people didn't agree with Rian Johnson with what he did, because J.J. Abrams, he was leading us in a good direction. So I think that's why they said, hey, yo, JJ, Rise of Skywalker, it's all yours.
Yeah, no, that's understandable.
Come do us justice. Because, for the Marvel movies, they had an idea of where they were going. They knew that originally the end game, no pun intended, the end game was Avengers. And they were like, oh yeah, we're going to tease Thanos at the end, and then we're going to have an even more bigger end game. Fast forward, Avengers Age of Ultron. We see him put on the gauntlet. Ho, 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 ho. Then they flash forward some more, Infinity War, Endgame. They knew where they were going. They had a story. They had a plot. They stuck with it. They went all the way through, and they followed their gut. And it's an incredible story, the Marvel story. But we're not talking about that right now.
No.
We're talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, and the thing about Star Wars, whenever you do something like these, because this isn't like Marvel where you do bits and pieces here and there to help build for something bigger. This is the episode. This is the story.
This is the Skywalker saga.
This is the Skywalker saga. And with The Last Jedi, it told an ending of Luke Skywalker, which some people hate, but you could not send someone off that's been there for 40 years as a prominent character better than you did Luke, because at the end of the day, he was saving his friends.
Yes.
the story of Luke Skywalker. He goes straight to Vader because he needed to save his friends in Empire.
Oh yeah.
He stuck with the rebellion and A New Hope because he wanted to help save his friends. In Return of the Jedi, he starts off saving his friends.
Yes.
And so you tell the story of this Luke character that was like trying to build a new republic, trying to bring back the new generation of a Jedi, but was so horribly destroyed by his own family member that he saw the dangers of everything, and he's like, this is too much. This is going to ruin the galaxy again, and cuts himself off from the Force, only to reluctantly return to help once again, and he saves his friends.
I will say, though, that there were some things in this movie that I initially didn't agree with. Right. I was like, okay, what's this all about? And
the casino scene.
The what?
The casino stuff.
No, it wasn't even that. It was Leia, Mary Poppins. You know.
Oh, I'm fine with that.
I mean, I wasn't at first, but then I was like, you know what? There's nothing I can do about it. It's happened. It also kind of really showed, like, we knew Leia had the Force, and we knew Leia had the Force, and here she is, using it, and so like we can't necessarily, but another thing about that is Carrie Fisher died,
right,
in real life,
right.
That would have been the perfect way to have ended her character. Not that I want Leia to die, but I don't know how well The Rise of Skywalker is going to be with Leia CGI. And they're not actually CGIing her stuff. They're just digitally remastering the background, and everything that's going to happen has to be like from deleted scenes from the last few movies.
Right, or extra footage.
Yes, And J.J. Abrams said, it was like a godsend that they were able to have, like, all of Leia's scene in The Rise of Skywalker, they lined up perfectly with where they were trying to go and stuff. And it was just like, Leia's still there. She's watching over us. And I just got chill bumps from saying that. Yeah. But, I digress.
So, yeah, that's my thing about The Last Jedi. I think that in spite of the flaws that people think about it, I think that you're going to, have to accept it because it's a Star Wars movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what you going to do? You're going to go rain hell on Lucasfilm or something? I mean, come on now. But I do have two more things about this movie.
Okay.
It was recently revealed by Carrie Fisher's brother that Leia was meant to be the Last Jedi, not Luke.
Oh,
said it was that it was like a well-kept secret. And, it was kind of a way to say, oh, look, thank you. I'm not sure how true that is, because anybody would say, oh, yeah, well, my sister's dead, but she was actually supposed to be the main character of this movie. Anybody would say that. Wouldn't you?
Yeah. I don't
and then
take to that. But
here's another big thing that I've been kind of, it just shocks me and amazes me. I honestly believe that Mark Hamill did not know that Luke Skywalker was going to die. And I have visual proof because there's him at his first ever opening of it in Germany or something, and he's just hopping for joy outside. He's just, oh, yes, I'm so excited to do this movie. He's jumping to keep himself warm and stuff. Then it shows right after it, Rian Johnson sitting right next to him. He's all just happy, cheery. Mark Hamill looks like he wants to kill himself. It's just, I'll show you the clip in just a second.
Yeah.
It's crazy how, he's just, it's like, what does this mean? I'm ruined, I was the best, I was the character that led this franchise, and now I'm not. So what does that mean? But yeah, that's all my 2 cents for this movie.
Well, then we get to the last movie now.
And we will be doing a theory video when it comes out. So thank you guys for listening, or not really watching, but thank you guys for listening and hearing our opinions on the movies up to this point. We are both very excited to see The Rise of Skywalker when it comes out in theaters December 20th. I am not plugging Disney, but please pay me money. All right. Adios.
Bye.